try the first level of this game. This is actually one of my favorite games, Bloodborne. It's part of the Soulsborne types of games, and it's based on Victorian London, so since I'm a Victorian literature scholar, it has a sort of special place in my heart of the Soulsborne games. Now this is really important in the game. The blood, this image of blood, comes out a lot. So, yeah. And you get this kind of very Lovecraftian, dark, gothic beginning. I love this when it came out. It's actually what got me into Soulsborne games, because for a long time I was really scared of it, right? But of course, since I was a scholar and doing kind of a steampunk project when I started playing Bloodborne, I really wanted to write about it because there's a lot of those elements in this game. So you have to fight all these like crazy people with torches. Are they undead? Are they sort of werewolves? There's kind of like a suggestion that you might be a werewolf. A lot of the things that happen in these FromSoft games is that they're very they make a lot of hints that they don't take into question. So it's kind of cool in that way. Oh yay, somebody's here already. So we're gonna start. We're gonna try it out. So we're playing online. Doesn't really matter, I guess, for the purposes of this game. I'll load a new game. Let's see. I'm gonna kill that one. Okay. Now we're going to create one.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yarnum is the home of blood ministration.
There's this kind of weird
you need only unravel
backstory that the church is like messing around with blood and
but
doing
there's an
weird
outsider like yourself to begin. Easy, with a bit of yarn and blood of your own.
Oh yeah, give it to me.
First, you'll need a contract.
The contract part is interesting. I mean, maybe there's some kind of critique of capitalism in there. Not sure. Let's enter a name. What should my name be? I always like to be my cat. Oops. Which, you know, I'm also a Buddhist, but who knows? And look at, I love the sort of beginning, and I always try to gender mix myself. You can make it, none of this really matters. So this is the one thing that sort of determines certain things when you begin the game. And so I'm not really the best player. There are people who can really play like magic builds or what they call blood-tinged builds, where you play off of the blood. But I am generally a strength person, and I think the 15, what's this 15? Violent Past is the best. I got that. I always like to be burly. Again, none of this really matters. And you can do like, let's make her a little. Okay. Okay, so like look at all of the attributes here. Of course, you have your level, which this is a role-playing game, so you get levels. You start on level 10. Blood echoes are sort of the souls of this game, if you don't already know. And one of the things I always thought was really interesting about Souls games is that they Souls can be used for all sorts of different things. In the original Dark Souls game and Demon Souls, they can be used to level you up. They can be used as currency. They can be used, in so many different ways. And it was always kind of interesting that people, like, the currency was the same thing. Like, you would trade in souls. Like, that souls were, they were worth something, but not a lot. So that by the end of the game, in order to level up, you had to have, like, 30,000 souls or something. Or you could use the same thing to buy a cool sword. It kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes kind of superficial that sense of what a soul is. And so it was kind of an interesting element, I thought, of the original Dark Souls series. That in this one is replaced by blood echoes. And blood echoes don't work exactly in the same way, but they're pretty close. And the fact that it is based on blood, and already we have this theme of blood occurring in this game, right, suggests that there's some kind of werewolf or vampire element to it. Vitality, of course, is your life, how many hit points you have. Endurance is very similar to stamina in Dark Souls, where you can only hit. You can't just sort of spam somebody with hits. You have to be very careful in how you manage your stamina, your endurance, because you could run out of endurance and then somebody could kill you. Strength, of course, gives you more powerful hits. Skill in this one is very similar to dexterity in Dark Souls, and there are skill-based weapons, so that you have to know how to hit somebody in a particular way with those weapons, rather than just sort of smash them with a hammer. And I'm kind of a hammer guy rather than a quick thief guy, so I tend to go for strength over skill. Blood Tinge is somewhat unique to Bloodborne, in that it is very much about the sort of blood, the blood magic that's sort of central to this game. So, and then arcane, of course, is the magic, which you get when you're a scholar. There'll be like scholar things later on in the game, and spoilers, there is a lot of weird fiction, Lovecraftian elements into this game, and so the scholars are the ones who are more interested in that sort of thing. So we have our basic person. So we're going to finalize the contract and start the game. I love that saw. I might do the saw this time. I'm not sure. And they always give you little hints on these load pages that are kind of fun. Madman's Knowledge. Insight is such an interesting mechanic. We're not going to get too much of it in this first level, but insight is what sort of reveals the kind of Lovecraft element of the game. The more insight you have, the more you see sort of these Cthulhu-like monsters appearing in sort of normal, everyday places. And
good.
Yeah.
All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
There's quite a bit of psychoanalysis in this game too, probably. A lot of mother images, dreaming, like the sort of bonfire space is in a dream, the hunter's dream. So when we die the first time, you'll see we'll end up in a dream. That's our first crazy thing. Is this a nightmare? Is this for real? We don't really know, right? And that's kind of part of the interesting thing about this, and the sort of Victorian element that it comes from. There's some crazy stuff going on. I'm just laying down and sleeping right here. Oh, and by the way, if you're on this and you wanna chat, you can. There's just all sorts of stuff happening here, right? Like there is, who knows what these things are. Coming to get you. I bet, like, if you're ever in surgery, you wouldn't want to wake up to that, probably.
You found yourself a hunter.
Alright, so you wake up in this clinic. Wake up in this clinic. Here I am. I'm just some little chap. I was on the night for a stroll, but now I wake up in this crazy clinic. You can inspect. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. Now, like this is very typical for Soulsborne series. You'll have these very vague, phrases. And one of the things that's really interesting about this, I think, personally, from my own background in literary studies, right, is that the game really doesn't tell you the story. It always kind of hints at a story, and you have to kind of put that together. And so you'll have a lot of online videos devoted to the lore of Bloodborne. So like, that's kind of the cool thing about this. It sort of inspires people to argue over what the meaning of that sort of thing is. So they have reeks of hidden path. These are notes. So like, the other thing that's really kind of cool about these games is that oftentimes people can leave notes. And sometimes these notes help, right? So like, sometimes you'll have a note right before a sudden drop that'll be like, watch out, and so like somebody in some other game has left this note to warn you. Of course, this is crap, and you can appraise it, right? This is a fine note, or you can say it's foul. I'm gonna say it's foul because people are saying it's great because they think it's a joke. I mean, it does come in to play later on, but who knows? Okay, so we're gonna open this door. Now we're gonna fight our first villain here. Bless us with blood. That's fun. Sometimes these notes are like people saying cool stuff, and so you're always like, yeah, that's awesome. Beware of woman. Well, that's not going to happen yet. That happens later. And I just love the design of these games. Often, you have these kind of broken down spaces. In the Dark Souls game, it's very dark gothic kind of. Everything is falling apart. Like like the Golden Age was some time before in Dark Souls, and now what you're looking at is like an empire ruin. That's less the case, I think, with Bloodborne, although there is kind of a little bit of that. But you wake up and those kinds of design elements are still here. So you have like the broken wooden floor, and So we're gonna look at this. This is attack. That's if I want to do. So like right now I don't have any weapons. I'm just this guy. That's the regular attack, and then this is like the hard attack. Notice like in this game you can't really jump. You can kind of roll, but lock on. So we're getting close to our first enemy. One of the things that Dark Souls does, it does it especially in this game, and then in Sekiro, which is another great game, is you'll be confronted with a difficult enemy at the very beginning. It does it in the first Dark Souls, although I think the first Dark Souls is a little more forgiving than these two. It's very clear that the designers wanted you to lose at the very beginning to give you kind of a, oh, this game is for real kind of feeling, and kind of scare you a little bit. So like as people get good, and I'm not this good, I will probably die. They try to beat them at this point in the game, and there are a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, you did it. but I'm not gonna do it. You have to be really fast. Really fast in order to do it. It's possible. I'm gonna put stuff. Okay. So we're gonna double up. We're gonna double up. Okay. See, it's been a long time since I've played this, so I'm gonna die probably. Hello? We got hit. Okay. Come on over, Mama. Let's see if I can do it. You have to be very patient in this game. Otherwise you just get... Oh, gosh. Oh, didn't do it. I did pretty well. See, I'm not that good. But you're kind of supposed to die there anyway. So, we're waking up. So one of the things that I really love about this game, of course, is all of the Victorian kind of references. See, you were in this dark Gothic space, and now we're waking up, and it's almost like we're in a pre-Raphaelite painting, and that's sort of very intentional. So I will do that a lot. This is a doll, and you can't see it, but this doll will eventually become really important. But if you look over here, so we've got like all of this crazy, all of these great flowers, this insane moon, bath messenger. Notice that that's one of the guys from our dream. So that's a little creepy. These are chalice dungeons. So there are these like extra levels that you can play. I don't even think we can get in this house yet. Maybe we can. No. So we get to, I think, pick our weapon. Messengers offer you a trick weapon. Choose one. Trick weapons are wielded with the right hand and employed in defense. So one of the cool things about these weapons is that they have two different kinds of like settings, and one is sort of more powerful than the other. I think I'm gonna go with the simple one. So I'm just going to do the axe because I'm the best at it. The axe is pretty good. I really love the blunderbuss better than the pistol, but the pistol goes really well with what. So now you get. Yay. Okay. So. Oh, there comes somebody. You can write in the comments if you want. I don't know if this is Christian or Jason, but you can say whatever. I'm gonna put on my weapons. Where are my weapons? Oh, maybe up there. Oh yeah, got my axe and my other weapon, my pistol. Yeah, looking more like a hunter. Okay, and now it's time to hunt. The hunter loves to hunt. So we're gonna go back. And this is a dream. We're in a dream world right now. So again, I am convinced that a psychoanalytic reading of this would not be out of the question. Monocular. I have never used a monocular in my life. Some people love it, but not. I'm like, whatever about it. That's chalice is used to create one of the dungeons. I really love the threaded cane, but I can't get past one of the parts of the level because it's not that good. This weapon I'm better at. These are lanterns. They're a lot like the bonfires from Dark Souls, and they're like checkpoints. But the thing, so like one thing you should know, in this one you can't just sit at the bonfire like you do in Dark Souls. You're always going to return to the Hunter's Dream. And the thing that you should know about these checkpoints is that if you stop at them, all of your enemies will reappear. Except for certain ones. Like, I don't think this one... I think he kind of disappeared afterwards. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's get some revenge. Let's get some revenge. How about it? So we're gonna play some games. Take that. That's a little different, isn't it, Wolfie? I do that a lot. So you saw what I did. This is how the trick weapon works. You have like, this is the single-handed axe, right? And in this case, you can use the lesser gun in this one, and then you can make it more powerful and do this move, which is really awesome. And you can go back. So we're gonna go out to Yarnum. Actually, I think. I'm trying to remember how to get out there. So that's a run. I run a lot because I get really impatient. Why was this wolf here? What are the horrors that await me in this dark Victorian world? We will have to figure that out. Okay, now we're emerging into this world. Some of this you can't open. Gotta get your quicksilver bullets. Those are really important whenever you're hunting. And that is like just some real nasty stuff. So we don't want to go there yet. I mean, all of the stuff in this game is nasty, but that is particularly nasty. I love the ornate. I just love the detail of the design. That's what I mean. There's so much that's so intentional from Foster games. You know, like, what other game are you going to find some random horse decomposing on the side of the street? Now these guys are townspeople that have gone kind of feral Another theme of this is like if you get too crazy about hunting things, you'll turn into a monster. And that's happened to a lot of hunters. And so you have to constantly keep an eye out for what they call frenzy. Some hunters try to use frenzy to their advantage, but if you know, again, frenzy, there's this image of the werewolf, right? Kind of at play in this game, even though, like, hunter is never alone. Is that a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Sometimes it's a good thing. Don't give up. See, I love this. These are my favorite parts of Soulsborne games, is that you get these little encouragements from other players, which is kind of nice. This is not... Something bad's happened in this town, in Yharnam. And isn't Yharnam such a great name for a town? So you'll have, like, a lot of that sort of thing. You want to ascend the ladder in order to get to our lamp thing. Yeah, those guys are creepy, aren't they? There we go. You don't need... Yeah. And these are specters, so these are people who have died in this area. That guy has a pretty powerful weapon too, so he probably got invaded or something. I've got a starter weapon. The axe is a solid weapon. It's not like the best weapon in the game. So eventually I'll wanna get a different weapon. I can also up, with these weapons like in most RPGs. He's mad. So let's see if I can get. No, I didn't quite do it. So if you saw that, I shot him at a particular time, and that he kind of stepped back. That's a. This guy. That's what's known as a visceral. We're gonna try to do this. Try to do it faster. This guy, I just like to overpower because he has a stupid wooden. Okay. So, you'll notice that there are mobs, or these roving mobs. You want to be very careful as to how you approach these people, and draw one at a time. Otherwise, they'll all come after you, and you will get killed really fast. Come on. Come on. Yes! Now I did a visceral. This is a visceral. So that's like, does like, something like triple damage, and you can get bonuses depending on the visceral that you do. Come on, come on, come on! I love doing it. It's a little bloody, isn't it? Like it's this is not a this is a pretty violent game. Pretty violent, dark, gothic horror game. Reek of poison. There's somebody up here, I think. This guy, you see how they have crucified this werewolf thing. And I think they think that you're going to become a werewolf, which could happen. Their fears are not unfounded.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
Yeah, so the hunter was sent to, like, cleanse this place of its evil, yet hunters bring with them their own problems. I'm being very careful. It may seem that I'm going through them like putty, but I don't want them to learn either. Okay, now this guy down here can either be easy or hard depending on how you go after it. So, yes. Oh God. Okay. Okay. Did not do that well. You will see that I will die a lot. And this is like the first level. Usually in games with the first level, you don't die a lot, right? That's not the case with this level. The other thing you'll notice is that the very beginning of Bloodborne is actually really long. Come on. Yeah, it's finished. I can bypass. Yep, okay. Good for you. Good for you. That means getting me some blood. So, I think I have stones. Yeah, I got pebbles. Let's do... Now... Oh, good. I'm probably gonna die again. If I die again, I'm not gonna make it to this guy. Kind of annoying. I'm not that powerful. Really? Oh man. Okay. Well, saw how that went. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. The other thing you have to learn in this game is sometimes you gotta know when you're just not up for that right now. And that's kind of where I am with that thing. I do love that move. Okay, so we're gonna... There we are. We're gonna play a game. Aww. I love this. This guy. Oh man, I gotta learn. That was probably a bad use of that, by the way. But, whatever. Whatever. So, jackass. These guys are annoying. You also notice that he shot me, and I regained some of that life back. That's one of the main. One of the coolest parts of this is if you can. And another reason why you think you might be a vampire or werewolf, right, is that if you hit them with your axe soon after they hit you, you can regain your life. It's like you're taking their blood. Look at all the blood on my coat. It's like you're bathing in their blood. Again, not. Oh, I am not. See, I am not as good as some people in this game. Just not really that great. So we'll look at all those people. Yeah, you don't want to deal with that. Ow. You look like some kind of old Confederate guy. Old racist. Taking him down. You guys do not like you. That's kind of the thing. Get more bullets. The fact that they're made of quicksilver, another hint that we're dealing with supernatural things in this world. Okay. So now we have to like thin out this crowd, right? That's why you have these. Get them to come up one by one. Very methodical game that way. You don't want to take on more than you can chew at any one time. So you can use that. That's the thing about bullets sometimes, is that you can sometimes use it, even if you don't get full-on visceral, you can sometimes use it to like overpower people. Now look, there's a stupid guy with a gun. Oh, and a dog. The dogs are like, if you look at any From Software game, the dogs are always like the scariest thing. Because they are, you don't know what that is? They are just vicious. Fast with these mobs. You gotta be fast. You gotta be fast. You gotta be fast. You gotta overpower them. So this is very different also than the Dark Souls game. Dark Souls games, like especially the first few ones, really relied on you using your shield a lot. You would just kind of look like you were a turtle, kind of, you know, creep into new levels and hope that your shield will help you, right? But in this case, you don't have a shield. And so when Bloodborne came out, people were really nervous about how they would play this game. It really forced them to be a lot faster and to use dodges more. So good thing. It's kind of cool that that's another part of this that makes it so interesting in terms of the design of the level, is that this From Software is actually thinking about, you know, how do we how do we make this different for our players? How do we give it a totally different playing experience? These things are freaky. Eventually, in the last stage, they're doing like weird, so like, here's the thing. When I first saw those things, these are like birds, right? But they sound like dogs, right? And you only get a hint at the very beginning of what could actually happen. At the end of the game, you have these crazy dog birds that you have to fight, and apparently they're playing gene experiments with dogs and birds. I guess. Weird, crazy scientists in this game. Dark scientists. Okay, these people are fun, because they're fun to do this for fun if you can get them to do it. If I don't die. Oh, he totally faked me. There we go. There we go, there we go. Suck up that blood. It's funny that he came right after me. All he had was a brick. He's kind of like I would say, kind of like a Frankenstein, monster, probably. I don't know. Alright. Make sure you get all your stuff. It's nice that I'm not. Cold blood dew. That's like it gives you blood echoes when you use them. So sometimes you're not quite up to a level, and you use one of those, and you get a lot more echoes, and you can get to the next level. There's a whole lore thing behind it that they developed in the Blood Guild or whatever. Oh man. These things are vicious. They're just vicious. Look at this. This is not a game for your kids. I mean, I don't know. Who am I to say, right? Oh gosh, I'm gonna die fast. I'm gonna die fast. Probably will not. Oh man, run away! Sometimes you just gotta run away. Okay. Get more. Come on. Man. I was not kidding when I said that the dogs are really the meanest enemies in this game series. Okay. I always found it creepy, and a lot of the From Software games do this, that when you kill something, its corpse becomes really limp. It never gets, it's a little unrealistic, but it's creepy, isn't it? And it can get tangled up in your body, and you can drag it around. Especially with the what are they? Gosh, they're frogs. Oh yeah, okay, we're gonna take it. You notice how this can get really dicey really fast. Come on. No mercy for those things. Anyway, depending on what the body is, it can get really creepy. Okay, so this is a bad place to be. Usually I try to run across. Yeah. Those things will kill you fast. You just want to get away. I think there is forget how to do it for the shortcut. This isn't the shortcut. Okay. Maybe it's down this way. A lot of dead people just... And these statues, look at them. Like, really? These are statues that people made. Lots of these giant books. Carriages everywhere. Usually, there's not an easy way to get one of them and not the other one. And so you're gonna die. But if you can get one of them, oh man, oh no! Now we run, now we run, now we run like a mama. Run, 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 run. Okay. Those things. Hello. This is the shortcut. Okay. So you want to get a torch. There we go. A lot of freak shows in this too. Those people, they're like old guys in wheelchairs with shotguns. Sometimes it's just funny stuff. And why is this here? No, that's weird. See, sometimes people like to trick you. They think it's really funny. Finally. So, I think I'm going to finish right after this. So this is a shortcut. So one of the things about Soulsborne games... Ooh, I am really bloody. One of the things about Soulsborne games is that you get these shortcuts, and it really kind of shows you kind of the beauty of the level design, because oftentimes you can unlock different parts of the level. So like next time when I reawaken, I'll just go this way. I won't have to I can bypass half of the level. And on the other hand, what it does is it allows them to sort of create a level that has many different interlocking paths. And so There are especially levels where this is especially awesome, like the Cathedral of the Deep in Dark Souls 3, where they only use one bonfire. They only have one checkpoint, and you can go through the entire level almost with this one checkpoint just because of how it's designed. So that's actually really cool. So anyway, I hope through this short introduction that you got some of the basics of Bloodborne, at least, as a Soulsborne game. And yeah, like, let's see if we can. Oh, we can't do this. We can't actually, until we get one insight, this doll won't awaken. So one of the reasons why you want to have insight is you start to understand how magic works in this world once you have insight. And things like the doll will start to work to your advantage. But insight's such a fascinating mechanic in the game because it also means that certain enemies can do more damage to you the more insight that you have. So anyway, just something to think about. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.